for man to correct, fan, adapt the vessels to the lights, through actions, through his exertion, and he asks for the light to correct the vessels, according to his request, the truthfulness of his request. These corrections take place and then the lights fill the vessels, and it's felt in the vessels as the revelation of godliness, as light. Therefore, man has only one thing to do to demand the light to correct the vessel. The vessel comes from above. The light comes from above. The action of the lights in the vessels comes to a state where in the vessels, point and independent point is depicted called man, and this independent point has to demand that, yeah, will fit the light, right, no, will fit the light. That's the entire action. There aren't that many words here. In order to make these actions easier, the festival is divided into 600,000 carts pieces. The actions of men about the correction of the vessels are divided into 620 actions called rules or laws, and these laws he has to carry out over the judgments that are revealed in the vessels. Judgments, meaning that the gap that appears between the light and the vessel, the limitation. The limitation is the gap between the light and the vessel. Ask. It's very easy with this language before you as long as you don't clothe these things inside this world, inside, external, clothing. These things are very concrete, very simple. What does it mean that he writes here? Work time separately, and to time separately. A separate time for Torah and separate time for prayer means that Torah meaning that I learn Torah, and when I learn Torah I need to have maximum equivalence of form with the light for it to influence me, bestow to me. The only law in the world is the law of equivalence of form. All the other laws are a result of that law. You get it? So if I learn something that has to do with the upper lights, and I want that something from above will influence me, I have to be as close as possible in my thoughts, intentions, my desires, my qualities, my impressions, closer to the source. Therefore, if when I study Torah, I have to feel wholeness, eternity, that I lack nothing, that I truly belong to it on the one hand. On the other hand, what will I demand of it? I will just be like an angel. That's why it says that the time for Torah is separate, that I connect the Torah in this way. On the other hand, together with the study I also bring a request for correction, which is prayer, a separate time for prayer. This also has to be, both of these has to be in my attitude to the upper force that I can receive. I thought he's saying that if deficiency comes when I ask for myself, that's not good to do. Don't control it. No. What do you control or don't control? We're not speaking about your control. We're speaking about what you have to reach. Such a state where your attitude to the Torah during the study will be controlled, under your control. Not that, but if I feel like I hurt now, so I cry. If it's funny, I laugh. But that's not the proper use of the Torah by men. Before you come to study, you have to equip yourself with all sorts of things that will make your study beneficial for correction, for advancement. Otherwise, it's worthless. It says that it has to be prayer before prayer, right? It's written in the people used to sit and read that. That's how it's written, and they have to understand that before they would start the reading of Shema or the morning SHMA, prayer of SHMA, they would sit for 2 hours seriously in order to assemble their intentions and to be able to say the Shar properly. You understand such things. Those are exalted things, but it's truly how it is. Okay, let's say fine. I now want to draw the forming light as much as possible, strongly as possible. What does it mean? In thought that I think of how to resemble him in qualities. What do I do? I know what does it mean? That I use the thought to resemble or not to resemble. The equivalence of form is demanded of us. You say, how can I tell what I have to resemble? You will never be able to tell what is the upper degree from the lower degree. If you would be able to say what is the upper degree, this knowledge would kept you already in the upper degree. That's the spiritual nature. Wherever you can be, that's where you are. It's not like in this world that I can be somewhere, but I haven't gotten there yet. I'm about to buy a ticket and something and go. There's no such thing, so we'll never be even if you'll be in spiritual degree, spiritual process. You'll never be able to know exactly what is the higher degree. You'll have to climb to it above reason, meaning to resemble the upper. One means to be more spiritual, more bestow, more whole, to think less about yourself, rather to belong to him. Just imagine all kinds of illustrations, depictions accordingly. That's enough. If it's not enough, ask to give you the understanding what is the upper one in order to resemble him. This is called the reforming light. Can you ask the revelation of godliness? Not in order to enjoy it, but to be corrected by it. You're allowed to ask for that, to demand corrections in place of pleasures, that the corrections themselves will be our fulfillments, that the corrections will bring one to adhesion. The reward of the commandment is to know what is commanded. The who, the one who is commanding, not what is commanded, commanding. To prepare for this you have to equip yourself with a deficiency. This is very simple: light and vessel, clothing, internality, desire, fulfillment. The corrections come from the light. The filling come from the light. All of our lives need to be dependent on the light. And in the light, we have two types of influences: correction and then fulfillment, filling. It depends on what you wish to be connected to. What do you prefer? What do you want from its action on you? It's very simple. It's very simple. If we speak in this way, a person begins to face the very decisive actions. Yes or no? You understand? It's a little too abrupt for us. This. Nothing is left to talk about or to fill life. You must begin to act, and it's dangerous. Therefore, to say person cannot find himself in this, and he runs away. See, there are no questions if you explain in this way. What is there to ask? I understood that I altogether need to demand vessels of bestow in the end of no bottom, and give me bottom line to demand vessels of bestow, yes, to be the bestow, to resemble the Creator. That's what a person needs to, that's the desire person has to reach. I'm asking, no, not to the man bestow, not simply to the man bestow, to the man bestow all of those green movements, also the man bestow, but the man bestow, because this is the quality of the Creator, that bestow vessels of bestow is the means by which you can adhere to the Creator. Because the desire to bestow or the desire to receive, just two angels like right and left, so to be adhered on the right to resemble the Creator, and that is why I want to have vessels of bestow, otherwise it will be to bestow in order to receive. And is that the first stage that starts with meaning the prayer has to come from the greatness, the exaltedness of the Creator. Exaltedness, you should be great because He's great. All the other things that come to you will be correct, even if they are egotistical in the beginning, but the attitude will be correct, result of the recognition of His greatness. So the egoistic vessels, in recognizing the greatness and all that is that, considered to bestow in order to receive, or what exactly is to bestow in order to receive? We're going from receive in order to receive, bestow in order to receive, bestow in order to bestow, receive in order to bestow. These are the stages. So could it be that even if I'm enjoying, because I'm doing the work, then if you enjoy what you're doing, and the question is what is this enjoyment? And if pleasure is the means, then of course you must have this form of pleasure, otherwise you will not or not able to move, because your entire structure must have fuel, right? This fuel is pleasure. So you ask for the Creator, give me the possibility to do it, the ability to do it. That's how we say it in these words. Allow me, give me the ability to do, make an action of bestow, but give me the ability, meaning let me enjoy an act of bestow in such a way that I don't do it to enjoy, but that the pleasure would allow me to perform an act of bestow. You understand? That's it. Is there a point if I already receive some pleasure from something that I do, if it's with friends or all kinds? Is there a point in trying to suppress it, to suppress this pleasure, meaning kind of like if I'm enjoying and say I don't want? You should not suppress. Pleasure should not suppress the pleasure. Any pleasure doesn't matter. You should not suppress it. All the more so pleasure that comes to you on the path, right? Rather in place of the pleasure that you have to check what it comes, where it comes from, and yearn for pleasure from the path itself, from equivalence of form. Who do you resemble? Who are you coming closer to? But don't stop enjoying. Enjoyment, pleasure, that's the goal. The question is what kind of pleasure we're talking about. To benefit the created beings. That's the beginning of creation and the end of creation. If you wish to reach the Creator, you must come to the feeling that it's the Torah of life. He explains this in the study of tens. It's not enough to perform an act of bestow. Rather, you have to enjoy it. You have to be filled with the highest form of fulfillment, the greatest. And those who suffer along the path, it's a sign that they are under the authority of the kepot, the shells, and not under the authority of holiness. Any moment, any second, the person is suffering, he's disconnected from the Creator. Can it be? If the Creator is the source of all pleasures, how can you suffer and be connected to the source of all pleasures? You understand it's impossible. It is possible, but it's not because of men. It's because there are all kinds of states because of the incorporation of the souls, and he incorporates himself in the sorrow of the public. But the corrected state, in essence, in each and every corrected state, it has to be filled with pleasure. Okay, you once said that the kepot, the shells, people are in this state. What can you do with this? How can you disconnect from it? I don't know, what are you talking about? What are shells for you? Shells is any kind of thought, let's say, that disconnects me from the Creator. What can I do with it? I can do only one thing. I can remember that it's the Creator who sent this to me, because without the Creator there's no reason to fight them. Remember that the Creator sent it to me to do so, that the Creator in me will fight the shells in me. What do we call this? Come to Pharaoh. Pharaoh is the concentration of the shells. Do you get it? They're so wise. Are the Egyptians even in corporality that they made this eternal body, right? These mummies, right? They got to such a level that the living matter, they made it inanimate and seemingly eternal. That's the extent of the shell. So what? How is it written there? Mash has to go to war, has to be present. He has to do so, but he's impressed by the actions of the Creator. He has to make it so that all his desires called the people of Israel will follow him. That's it. The Creator says, I will fight with Pharaoh. Come and see how I'm going to do it to him. You cannot do it. What force will you use to fight the shell? The shell is the posterior of the Creator. He revives it, enlivens it, and he brings it before you so that, specifically through the shell, he can reveal himself. What is it written? No. How is it written? So I understand you have to agree with the suffering and to continue. Well, you have to agree with the suffering. Why agree? You need who is you. Who is you that you have to agree with the suffering? You have to scrutinize who are you identifying with right now. So that's it. He's justifying himself. If you stay with the suffering, you agree with the suffering, you remain in the shell because the suffering now separates you from the Creator. If you feel suffering, you're connected to the shell, so that's already a circle. How do we come out of this? How do you come out of it? You can go search. You have to search for the exaltedness of the Creator above the shell. This means to raise Creator above the Pharaoh, to see that he is the one who, you know, who is victorious. This war, there's 10 plagues, 10 qualities, 10 all of it happens in a person, since outside of man there is no shell and holiness. This is an internal scrutiny of men. All right, these articles are good. They're the short for beginners. That's it. 1985 was the first year that the group was working. They received a notice. The entire group, they were sent a letter at home that they're not worthy to be in the synagogue of the Rabbash and to not come, all them. Again, yeah, that's what I heard. Who sent? That's how it is. Person wishes to follow the path of not to realize it for others, how much he can maintain the group, artificially even to bestow to others, to expand the circle, right? If he's not doing it, even if he doesn't, even if he lacks that inner motivation, he must do it in order to survive. There's no other choice. One who does not engage in dissemination simply disappears from the field. That's what I see, right? Might be every once in a while. That was a long time ago. These are people who know all the articles were written when they were with Rabash. They learned heard from him everything. But it's hard for us to understand. We don't know what are the calculations up above. Why is it done in this way? Certainly not clear. It's certainly not clear. We have to fulfill our role. Okay, we're going to test this. Let's share impressions in the tens. What are we taking from what we heard to implement in the 10, please? 6 minutes. You need to look for the exaltedness of the critter above the shell. That means to raise the critter above the pharaoh, to see that he's winning. Man has to perform one action that I can receive. Yeah, what the friend said about pleasures, it's permitted to enjoy acts of bestow, to look for such a pleasure. With respect to dissemination, he said we must engage in dissemination and bring the Creator to others. Otherwise a person can't keep going. Yeah. How do we fight the shows with the Creator to reach the exaltedness of the Creator, and only with this you can fight the desires that are revealed. He said the prayer has to come from the greatness of the Creator because he's great. From that, great things will come to you. And also, about the intention, the beginning of the lesson, the vessel comes from above, the light comes from above. The action of the lights on the vessels paints in the vessels to the light as possible. Pull to the light as possible. Let's go to the next part of the lesson. Before we'll sing a sungation for the holiday of Passover. We'll study a lesson with Revel from April 4, 2016. This is from Test Volume 6, Part 15. This is Item 1 from the words of the airing. We're reading from the study of the Dance, Volume 6, Part 15, Item 1 in page 687. The structure. You can download the study material and find this material on cavalmedia.info. We learn that a will to receive was created by the light by the force of bestow. There is a force of reception that was created, and this force of reception is merely raw material. There's nothing in it other than small desire. One point opposite to the light. That's creation. This is the matter of creation existence. From absence. That the Creator can create something opposite to his nature, and then that very same point. Then he has to grow this point until it becomes just like him. The systems works on that point created by the Creator as existence from absence and develops it to be a created being. Created being. That's actually the end of all of. It's actually the end of all of its efforts. And so let us see. This is essentially the conclusion of his entire, besides effort, that same point of malhood. Everything else belongs to the Creator. That's his system, it's his actions, his directions to that same point of malhood. That's why other than the Creator, the system of the world, and the point of malhood, other than that there is nothing. There's the Creator and the created being, and the system through which he works on the created being to lead him to development. Go ahead. Part 16. The structure of Dempin was in the Vak alone, and the Nakvar was of one point that is included of the Yod, which is the aspect of Mut alone, and then through the Ibu Yannika and Mo, the unpin grew until it was completed to tens for, again Item 1. Know that during the Ibu of Son with Ire, that's Aaron, and M who drised Iama, because it's an upper one with respect to them. Then Zerpin was in the Peener of Vak alone, small, and the new Kiver was in the Peener of one point included of the Yod, which is the Peener of Mal in it alone, of the light sketcher of the vessels, and then by the Iber and Sampin, grew until it was completed into tens. Field speaking about which grows in the, we're not talking about meanwhile, although, rise to or more precisely to. We get there the completion, the lights, the vessels, the strength, in short, everything we need. But that works on the pin. The pin gets their eye. All of the degrees, the meanwhile, well, it gets nothing. Item 2. And, indeed, the growing of Malut doesn't happen by Zarin alone, meaning Malut is drawn to be to grow to develop, but until it does not get from the Ima, from the mother, everything it needs, it won't start treating the Malhut. In other words, Malut will not feel any change upon herself as long as won't finish getting from Ima everything he needs, and then he'll go down to its degree, and he'll start giving Malut everything she needs. Is that clear? Again Mal will not feel any change upon herself as long as herein is in and is receiving there all of the lights and vessels for her. But while it's in, she does not yet feel anything. She remains a point, is developing. He's going through and he's born. He emerges. He comes into his place within inside, which is a point. And when he comes down from I am made to its place, then he starts giving gradually what it needs the Malhut. Please again. Item 2, and indeed the growing of a Malhut doesn't happen except by Sarin itself, because when it raised him, it gave him additional strength for the growing of Malhut. And afterwards, this of growing of the Malhut came outside, through, and then Malhut grows also until its complete purpose, which is until she will complete it to spirit, is adhered to, and it gets from there the fulfillment, the light to constructed their fulfillment, and so on, and the make sure to grow the two in a way and an extent that it will take care of Mal. That's how it works. And then the Mal through the pin gets the entire completion to the tense. For in it, also when he writes, it's not just that Mal is adhered to is in pin, but Mal itself is also called that clear okay. Okay item Gimel item 3. Item 3, and therefore as it is necessary that is, until Mal does not grow, those 9 upper spot that are missing from the Nukvar will be included in Zanpin in his own 9 spiro, which is nothing only until the Nukvar completes the 10th spur, and then they become 19th spirit is 9 and her 10, and it is called the 10th since it is 10th to it, and is completed with 10 sphere with it, and she also has 10 sphere. Malhut has its own 10 sphere and has 9. Spiro, and Malhut completes it to the 10th spur. Not exactly clear what's going on here, but you can understand that Mal, that completes. It determines the size of Zampinets. Roll everything because it's all about. The Mal Shishib is the one that activates all the worlds. That is why you can say that above Malhut there is the 9th Viro from all of the worlds, from all of the structure. It's 9th. The Malhut is the 10th, and for her all of the world exist. It's all for her. Item 4. And indeed, before her upper 9 spirit are revealed in her, they were all included in his 9 spur. It is found that in each and every spur, from the 9 spur of Serin, there is one sphere of the Nakva, but it is only the 10th part in it which is the sphere of Mal in it, and when the Marhid grows, it doesn't happen in one time. Rather through many times, it grows and it increases a little by little. And indeed before the upper 9 spirits were revealed in her, you get from Zanin, they were all included in his 9 spiro. It is found that in each and every spur from the 9 sphere of Zrani, there is one spur of the Nukvar, but it is only the 10th part in it, which is the sphere of Malat, meaning the Malhut that stands at the end of, but the 10th part of it is in each and every sphere. Malhut of the individual 10 of the 10 individual spur of stand in each one of these 10 private spur in the individual spirit. That clear? Yes, no, you're not going to ask the topic. You're going to ask about something else. So okay, that's clear, good, let's go, let's move. But she's only the 10th part in her, which is the sphere of Mal in her, and when the mood grows it doesn't happen in one time, but in many times where she's corrected, and grows little by little. Not in one go mood gets the upper 9, completes herself to 10 hero turns into an independent Peru, starts as a creature, as a soul to behave towards the Creator. That way these things they take their process, they cook up in this process. Go on. Item 5. I will interpret now at length all those details, although there are many of them. Here, the purpose of the diminution in it is not less than a single point that is included of 10, which is the final point of Mut in her, and the purpose of her growing is for her to have all the 10 sphere out of her, and she will be with her pin, Panem face to face completely equal, and 2 kings will use 1 crown, which is, the moon argued, that she can't reach it. But really what could be better to be face to face with the Creator, and to use that same Keter with him, the same mind with him, the same heart with him, and to be adhered without any difference between. That is what the Mal wants. That is why any situation that is any less than that does not satisfy her. We are all shattered. We can't behave that way in our world. That we can give women the same sense of adhesion that thereafter. And we know that from the psychology of the sexes that the woman is constantly unsatisfied because her desire is to be adhered with tin fur. He doesn't feel that as his desire. That's why there's always a gap between the men's desires and the women's desire, the expectations and so on. That's actually rooted in nature. That's why until the end of correction, there are no discernments in whole that can be corrected. Yes, again item 5, and we'll interpret now at length, because there are many, although there are many details here. The purpose of the diminution in her, it's not less than a single point, included of 10, which is the point of the final mal in her, and the purpose of her growing is for her to have all of her tenths, and she will be within Panama. Panem completely equal, and 2 kings will use 1 crown, which is as the moon blamed argued, meaning that Malat will complete the serpent with all of its fur, with all the discernments, with all the day it won't feel that it exists otherwise, but that it all gets everything from serpent, but that it completes him in everything that he has, and serpent feels itself that it's entirely belonging to Mal, and that its entire role is to join Malat to him and to fulfill it. So there's like this psychology here, right? How? We can talk about it, but I'm telling you about this on purpose, because you might use that in lectures, in lessons, that this tells us in what lacks the sexes, the genders in our world is. In animals it's different, because there it takes place instinctively, but in human beings it stems from what's going on here, that the Malat is constantly drawn to be equal to, on an equal level, to be adhered to him in everything that there is and all the time, because that is the corrected state, the only state. That is what is called on Shabbat that we're coming close to it in these ascents. Yes. Item 6. No. What did you want? What is it? What does it mean to be adhered in 1 keter, 1 crown, to have 1 head? You don't need more than that. That her intentions, her desires, her plans will come straight from his head. She would not feel that they have 2 heads. They have 1 head. That's where it's landed in the beginning. She can't reach it. That's what she was arguing. And then she was told, go and diminish yourself. Then they showed her how nonetheless you can reach it indirectly. It's not a simple way, but she can correct herself through many actions and ultimately reach perfection. When you give your lectures to women, you have to explain how they reach such a state. So how does Malvid reach that state? Because all of that was the claim in the first place. But now she's again coming to a single keter. She's told there can't be 2. No, but now she knows that when she is going to diminish herself and enter restrictions and all those corrections is only in order to reach perfection. Where 2 kings share 1 crown, initially, according to her desire, just her simple desire, she wants to reach it. But you cannot. Why? You don't know why. 'Cause there's no first restriction. Because of first restrictions, second restrictions, screens are needed. The inclusion of, for her to receive all the desires, can realize herself on the condition that it receives everything from Zanin, her husband, her spouse, and when her entire desire is to serve her husband loyally on the condition that Zanin is also loyal to her and is concerned with fulfilling or with providing her all the corrections, and then mutually they reach the right combination, right partnership, and then a man and a woman, the divinity between them. So the process she goes through, that's, at first she goes through great disappointment. She sees it's impossible to work in this way. This is what our world in general is going through. That's why divorce, people don't want to get married, problems, there's a great mess between the sexes, betrayals and all that. But, nonetheless, from all this evil, all this confusion, there will be revealed great necessity, a great need, great desire for fulfillment, for inner filling, emotional feeling. This is before us, ahead of us. Then people will understand how they can complete themselves, that the psychology of the sexes has to be just like part 15 of this, and nothing less. And then she reaches with that need for fulfillment malhood. It understands that if she will be devoted, dedicated to Zarin, will be dedicated to her, and both of them will be devoted to above, especially They don't have this contact with Aber, but in this way they can grow and develop gradually in 7 times, 7 stages, by which they reach the end of correction. That's the only way to do it, and then they will have to learn the wisdom of Kabbalah in order to reach and be glorified couple. You understand? Glorified. Glory it's house that expressed these 7 stages. Well, that's the world in general. Well, the world goes through these stages. It can happen also individually for the time being. I didn't see with any Kabbalist throughout the history that had such a relationship with his spouse. Why? Because the corruption of the world also falls on him, as we studied in Nazar, the portion of Shemot, Exodus, that all the corruptions and donations of the world are from Israel, and they pass them on back to Israel, and Israel has to make the proper connection between them and the Creator, and that's how it works. Therefore, until we bring the correction to all the nations of the world, the corruption which we cause comes back to us, and also in the people of Israel, and especially those who are at top there. The tip of the pyramid in contact with the upper light, the upper force, and for them life is also corrupted even more so than for the lower ones, because they absorb all those negative impressions, and their world is this entire chapter he's talking about. The serpent, the construction of Soin doesn't need correction, only Nukvar does. Sanin requires correction, but not for itself, but only for the Nukvar. What does it mean? It is not corrupted. But man in our world is not corrupted. Man is corrupted because he doesn't want to be included in the desire and the deficiency of Malat. That's his corruption. Why doesn't he want to? Because he feels himself independent, delighted in mercy. Learn from what's written here. This is the depth of truth psychology, full on. These 2 pages are enough for you to teach an entire class, and people would look at you as Navan wise. Where does the lack burst out to this? Where does he get this lack to be included with the Malhut? That's how they are built. They are built in such a way that all the deficiencies come from the Malat. All the deficiencies come from Malat. Even in a regular person, the smallest person, his deficiencies come from Malat. If not for that, you would have been playing in this world the way you used to play with kids when you were 5, 6, 7. Would you care about those? Relationship between the sexes and all that? Of course not. Rather, when the deficiencies in the females grow, the males also begin to receive those deficiencies from there, and accordingly, they start to leave their routine, their balance. I don't know how to say it. There's a saying in Russian. Lab will help me. No, it's what the people say. I mean, and it's usually true, that unless the female want it, the male would not want it also. Meaning it all starts from the Malhud. It all starts with Malhud. I'm not telling you this in order to tell some jokes. It's for you to understand that you live in a single system, to bring the system closer to you, and also you can use it to disseminate where you give lectures. Is there a lack of equivalence of form between Malhud's deficiency and Zerin? They're opposite. There's no equivalence. They're opposite from the get-go. Sampin is in the lighted and mercy said, and NVA is full of deficiencies. Lower 9 spur are in thought in the shells. All the system of shells. Everything below Bolser belongs to Nukvar. She's burning with deficiencies in Tantin, Rear, Poka, a nice hike beach, surfboard. He wants nothing. What's the system that starts suiting between these desires? How do they start connecting according to the general system that's created above them? Then Malad begins to project to Sarin her deficiencies, and he has to accept them and act accordingly, according to the truth. Whatever awakens in you in the age 12, 13, 14 is a tendency for sexuality, puberty, to look at women. It's because they are awakened towards you. And you said that's according to an upper system. That's according to the upper system. Of course, who are we? We are animals, and that's how it happens to us. Now the opera system wants to bring their amp and Malhud to what? To the would receive all the deficiencies from Malhud, and he would grow up, otherwise he will not be a man, and he will not have anything together to overcome Lead Gabir and to provide everything Mutt wants. So they will all share a single crown in a Tishan, and then they both reach the decree of the Creator. Not the one or the other, a man and a woman and divinity between them, alone doesn't want to be a man. He did not wake up, is delighted in mercy. That's why and are from the get-go vac. And a point. Is there a point in the process where Zedpin cooperates independently, not just by the awakening of Malat? What do you mean of his own desire, if his desire is delighted in mercy? So he's dependent on the nutver, on the Mal 100% to grow, to become grown up. Yeah. It's like the king's gate. He needs Ham to waken him, otherwise he just stays seated at the king's gate. It's seemingly, if he doesn't want to become more, bestowing more, to be incomplete. Adhesion, no deficiencies. You understand what is the meaning of that? No deficiencies. You have a deficiency to eat a mouse. No. Why? A cat has it. You don't. Why? And let's say we will give you an injection and you will receive such a deficiency. Will you eat it? If I have a lacite, very well. So just like the cat eats the mouse, you too will eat the mouse. It all depends on the deficiency. So it completely is dependent on her to be grown up. Without that he cannot be a grown up, because he grows for her. He doesn't grow from mercy. The loot he receives from Ima is in order to provide to Mar what it needs. It grows only to that extent, meaning from as far as he's concerned he remains delighted in mercy. And she depends on him to be what? She depends on him in everything. She's a point that misses. Everything lacks everything. And that's why it looks for Zanpin and how to be dependent on her and for him to provide her everything she needs. She dreams of adhesion with him her whole life 100%. And then when they do this mutual work, then they become like the Creator. Come on, and you become like the God, knowing good and evil. And before he's not a know before that he's in that he has his own perfection, whatever is. And she when she wants to be like him, she wants to be like her. No, she wants to be like a mother, like Emma. Fulmar to be included in Biner, and for both of them to be together, the attributes of Mar, attributes of Biner to be in her as one. That's why she obligates him to be a grown-up gadlut. That's why they say behind a successful man there's a woman that obligates him. So she doesn't want to be like him. She wants to be like Emma, doesn't matter. But the expression of that according to how she understands. In her nature she grows him. He becomes grown-up gad. He doesn't have no possibility, no role, no ability to be a grown-up, to be in if not for Mahout. Look how much he obligates him to attain that success. It's like who said about the president in America, Carter Nixon. Say it so we can hear it. Clinton. What did she say? That if he wasn't married to me, then he wasn't the president. No, she said it differently. He was felt proud before her that he became president. And he said, if he would marry someone else, what would you be today? She said no, he would have been president. There's something to it. Yeah, women feel this way, that everything you attain is thanks to her. So, is your wife, does she cry or does she feel proud? No. So just to conclude that when Peng grows, does she become like Abba? She becomes like Ima. Yes, son become like Abima, father and mother Abima. And at the end of correction they send from their degree to Abima and then to Aranin, and they included there. But this is already the end of correction, and also there's more in the Shabbat in that. Yes, we'll move to the next part of the lesson. Building a spiritual society. Guys, hello friends, we're going into our weekly discussion with the management. Today we want to focus on the topic of the lights of PDS Passover. Every year, when Paspi comes, it shakes the vessels in every possible direction. So let's begin with an excerpt. So Balasim will direct us. What should our approach be to this period? From Shamarti 41, what is greatness and smallness in faith? We must know that the lights of Passover have the power to impart the light of faith. Yet do not think that the light of faith is something small, since greatness and smallness depend only on the receivers. When one does not work on the path of truth, he thinks that he has too much faith, and with the amount of faith he has, he can dispense to several people, and then they will be fearing and whole. However, one who wants to serve the Creator in truth and constantly examines himself, if he is willing to work devotedly and with all your heart, He sees that he is always deficient in faith, meaning that he is always short of it. Only when one has faith, one can feel that he is always seated before the King, as friends always was and always will be since the days of, for those who remember, have always attributed to special status. Do you remember how we used to shout out, "The lights of PVS, the lights of," always explained to us how we'd relate to it, how related to it, whether it's in physical matters, the emphasis on special food and special level of kosher food, the seemingly external matters. But we were told that it's not a matter of doing external things, is to do exactly what Kabbalists did, because Kabbalists always related to Pes as a holiday of freedom. Freedom, the inner freedom of all of us, individually and of all of us together. And we are continuing this today, where circumstances at La Israel are circumstances of war, and we will not be able to conduct a physical gathering at the centre. We'll have to do the pack at home, but at the same time, whether it's a physical or virtual connection, each time, each one will do at home what he can. But it's an opportunity for connection, for mutual work today, when we're so concentrated in our tents, and in the work in the tents we have infinite work for material here in the tents, specifically in this focus on our inner, all of us together, for the sake of the Creator. In the article, The Purpose of Society, Rash writes that we have gathered here to found the society that wants to implement the method of, and we are those people who want to implement the method just as he gave it to Thish and passed it to our teacher. That's why we always relates, as we heard from our teacher, and from that he treated as a very important event. It's not a holiday, it's not a custom, but it's an inner process that a person goes through on the path to reveal the Creator. And today they were intense, working according to the method of with his articles, but have many more things on the spiritual path. And this is what we want to implement in the spiritual state called Passover. We'll do it by studying articles, keeping the orders, and by creating the same atmosphere that was always concerned that we'll have in a Passover Congress. It is written, one should oversee oneself, half guilty, half innocent. If he commits one commandment, happy is he, for he sentenced himself and the whole world to the side of merit. In these special days, these faithful days, we, through our efforts to be like the abrate which is all love, we are the force that can stream into creation, him through the interior, through an embrace to all created beings. Yea, and Passover we ask what has changed this evening from all the other evenings, and in every Passover every year we check ourselves, we renew our intentions. Where are we now? So now the Creator gave very unique conditions that only leave the intention in the heart. That's what we need to check, each one from their own place, how we can take advantage of this special time that we're entering, a period of lights of Passover that, according to Root and Branch's special virtue to faith comes, and we help each other amplify this state in connection and happiness. So we'll have a vessel to reveal the Creator between us and the whole world. This week I heard from he was telling about, and his words he said, may we be able to adhere to the content of Pes, to the origin of Pes, and that's what should happen, that we will be able to realize on ourselves Pes fully in every detail as it should be. That doesn't matter how reality appears to us, and that's the beauty about our group, that regardless of what the Creator does and how he shakes the vessels among us, there is still within us, there is still the power and the spirit to realize the method exactly the way we receive it, and the way the teachers give it. If is the most distant state from us, so Passover is the closest, and we have to try to do as many actions in this time. We also heard from our teacher that corporality clothed in spirituality. So everything that we'll do, the Creator is giving us an opportunity to do things in the tens. We used to do a lot of external actions in the group. Today reality is pushing us to do actions in the 10. So in this state, we need to try to do as many actions in the 10 as we can, and believe that it will help us advance. So now we want to hear talk with. Yesterday we had a meal with him in the tent, and love also related to the situation we're in, and in general to the physical gatherings and virtual gatherings. So let's hear a talk with love, and afterwards we will discuss it in the tense, virtual, Passover, all the meals, all the lessons. That's how we'll be. We have to think how we awaken this entire audience in a way that they do not fall into slumber, into sleep. What does the Creator want from us in these periods? What is it a sign that it's better conditions for spiritual advancement? No, I'm not saying that. Not this way, not that way. Neither good nor bad, not for better, not for worse. What can we do? Go through Passover as close as possible to its origin. That's it. The Creator is helping us advance in every state in the war. Is He constantly advancing us to the next stage? Every state advances. The only question is to what state we to what extent we agree to with its state. So we have to agree with this virtual state of Passover or not agree. To agree because this is how the Creator wants us to celebrate Passover this year. Everyone in their own home. Yes, but the ideal would be if we all sit together in one room in one hag. We were probably unworthy of it because we did something wrong. What is it? A punishment? Yes, because we're not okay. We're not as it should be. So what should we do in order to be okay, to be rewarded, to straighten out? Everyone must come out of their places, join their friends, embrace with everyone, and then we will discover what it means to be free on Passover. By that we'll change our reality. Yes, also the corporeal reality that we live in, like the war. Of course. So why is the punishment collective? Why should all of suffer from this? We're all guilty. All of aren't okay. And that's why we got such a state. Yes, we're all to blame. There are people that'll say the opposite. But it's good that we're virtual. People also told us now we're all incorporating with one another. We feel the world clamor. I wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say that. Okay, good. So good. You answered. We're lacking joy. We are really lacking joy. Joy, that what is it related to? Of the meeting. That's it. It's important. So, we're not lacking to sit physically together. We're lacking happiness. We're not lacking to sit together, but we're lacking happiness. Well, yes. Are we lacking sitting together? There are people that'll say, what we feel good to sit virtually. Most of the people, for them it's that. Their constant reality. So here in it's only a few hundred people that are rewarded with it. But, so that's why the question is, are we really lacking a physical meeting, or are we lacking happiness? A physical meeting. The happiness of a physical gathering. Oh yes. So if the Creator won't let us gather, He won't let us in the next few days. Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe till the morning it'll change. But let's say He won't let us, and we're going to stay virtual. How do you awaken happiness in a state where there is no physical gathering? We talk about a state where we can reveal the joy. Yeah, so Passover is a state of a great happiness and joy, and says we're lacking joy, and He's inviting us to discuss it. It's the most precise guidance how to talk about it between us from the incorporation. We'll actually hear the Creator guiding us to the next stage and how we need to work together correctly, how to reveal the happiness, and specifically in this special period in Israel when we're not gathering. Throughout the holiday, almost 2 weeks we've been at home, during the lessons, during the meals, and we want to take the conditions that the Creator gave us, not only remain with this deficiency, but scrutinize it and awaken this connection between us, the warmth that, if it's lacking, I guess it can be revealed between us now. So let's talk about it now together in a workshop. How can we awaken happiness of connection between us in the state that the Creator gave us now? How can we awaken the state of happiness of connection and the state that the Creator gave us now? 8 minutes, please. Yeah, we are in a special situation that the Creator gave us a possibility to make an extra effort beyond the usual that we would do each year, and see how we can bring the heart and bring this connection between us that we would feel very strong physically, to bring it into the present situation. We have to see it as a challenge, and it's certain that if we aim correctly and do everything together in the connection, the Creator will help. And I wanted to read the friend sentence. I really like that. Related to Passover. The exodus of Israel from Egypt will forever remain the spring of the whole world. The whole world awaits it for us to do our work in this space. Yeah, what's connected to me in a way? There's that sense where the Creator doesn't punish, it's only corrections. And to remember that Kabbalah is a method. It's nothing personal. It's all about forces, meaning the purpose of every state is to have a deficiency for the correct state. The sign for the correct state is happiness. If there is no happiness, then we have to ask for it because we have no deeds. So there are no punishments. They are corrections. If we don't have happiness right now, because we can't meet physically, so it's in order to create a deficiency. This discernment, that when we're together, we need to be joyful, to build this value, to see now that we have no idea how important it is. By being unable to meet it created us a deficiency, and that we have to fill with the inner connection. We cannot meet physically. We should meet in the interconnection between us, and this will hold us and fill us with joy, to really demand from the Creator to have joy in the holiday. Yeah, it says that happiness is a result of good deeds. If we don't feel happiness, we have to increase our inner work between us, to see it as if the Creator gave us an opportunity for more connection. When we meet physically, it might be easier for us to think that we're in connection, but the true work is internal. And now if we add more forces, more desire to connect internally between us, we'll feel happiness. I'm happy of this state that Creator gave us, and I'm happy of the opportunity to work, to do spiritual work. Is the holiday of faith. Everything we read about in the exit from Shamarti, the lights of Pes, and that's the force with which we can be in joy, because although we see all kinds of states like not being together in the building and all kinds of things that are actually very joyful, like having Passover, celebrating it together, instead of it we are in virtual. Nevertheless, we want to rise above, reason, and thank the Creator for everything, for every detail, for every friend, and through gratitude to begin to feel the wholeness and the joy of what we have been rewarded with. Yeah, if we're lacking happiness from a physical gathering, so let's have a physical gathering. We were supposed to meet this Thursday. Too bad we didn't do it, so we'll do it next Thursday. Yeah, I also think now it's an opportunity to do good deeds more internally. You don't have regular meals, as friend said. Maybe we got used to it, and now we are getting a chance to get an angle from the majority of the clay witches, sitting and working all the time, and manages to enjoy those who do manage it. So we need to look how to constantly say through my efforts in and thoughts in, and everything during the day, also when we don't see each other in the same direction, that we can to feel more and more what we can do each moment regardless of what happens. But on the other hand, I've said, there is a lot of joy from the physical connection, and it's an opportunity to appreciate meetings once we get a chance to feel them again, to do them again, or to receive strength from there, to give strength to each other. Said in the talk, if every state helps advance, and he said yes, the question is how much we agree with every state. And he answered a question that you should strengthen yourself, each one should come out of their own place, join the friends, and hug everyone. Then we'll discover what coming out into freedom of Passover means. So we need to help each other agree with the state, and to be happy that we have a 10 that we have, and that we have friends that are constantly above all states, holding us, concerned about us, and watching over us. That will constantly justify the Creator and all the states that He's giving us, and Israel and the world. And we want along with us to be happy and push ahead into spirituality and go out into freedom. We need to take the situation the Creator gave us as a challenge, as an ascent, and agree in precisely in these conditions, and go with the Creator and ask Him for help. So friends, we want to hear all of you, now all tens, and to hear from you practical advice. How do you recommend to awaken joy between us in this current reality that is revealed to us, that here in Israel we're all virtual, even though we're used to certain physical reality. And like we heard from Love in the talk, we're lacking happiness, and he keeps repeating it many times lately, especially since the state we're in. Also, last week we had a talk with him, and he said the exact same words. We're lacking happiness, and that's why we'd want now in the assembly to hear all the friends from the world, Kli and Israel, that you should share advice how we awaken happiness between us, specifically in this state. So let's see the pioneers. We'll start with New York 3. Hi friends, what an exciting question. I'm sure that in the world Clee, there's all kinds of powers in the form of songs or videos or all kinds of things that friends could make that will raise the spirit of the whole society. And it would be beautiful to see all of these things blossoming out of the society. Jesse was just saying that the whole world is here. So to see something grow would be very exciting and bring a lot of power and uplifted spirit. Moscow. Yes, friends, we want to share with you the whole week. We've been going together with N25. We've been preparing the lesson that we will give. So we're going through it together with very powerful connection. And to now we want to answer the question that the friends started projecting this joy. It really impressed us, this connection. And it's true that when you're physically, you feel it a lot more, but even virtually, you absorb these particles. It all depends on how much we want to advance, how much we ask the Creator to help us. And the joy comes from all our efforts. Mark 25. Hello here. I'm feeling better. For a short translation, we want more connection and more happiness between us. That's why we've gathered here in Berlin. We have veterans and new friends, and we're all connecting into one common body, and we want to awaken the dawn and unite between us more. Okay, friends, I hope they can hear me. Mashi said that during Passover we are the closest to spirituality. That's what we need to do. The question is, are we demanding? Is breaking up? We need to be in connection with the whole world's Kli. That's the most important thing for us. And if we concentrate only in our 10, example for the people of Israel, we are happy in our 10. But in our 10, we are also concerned with everyone. Then we ask of the Creator, and the Creator will really give us, and that will make us connected like we were connected at the Congress. As the world clear, we want to continue the connection regardless of the state of war. We want to stay connected. So let's stay together, friends, and care for our environment, and then we will advance. Dear friends, we have reached a state that all the work we're doing between the friends, all these discussions will bring us to the right search. The intention is what the Creator is demanding of us. Then we will rejoice together, and He will rejoice in us from our deficiency towards Him. Or when we hear Rav say that we lack happiness, we are happy from the fact that true happiness comes from the lack of happiness. Beloved friends, dear friends, in Israel, all the friends, Matan, Kazakhstan, are gathering. We want the Creator to give you inner strength, a strength of confidence, that power of joy, of gratitude from our hearts. We are projecting this voice to you. Yes, friends, we have to awaken the happiness to awaken the ability to get inspired from anything the Creator gives us as a gift. Now, we can't take things for granted. We have to develop the sensitivity to everything the Creator gives us to awaken that innocence we lost from the daily work. We said that we should meet physically with friends as much as possible, to have meals at home as much as the safe room allows, not to relinquish altogether the physical meetings, and also asked ourselves, asked the Creator, where are we going wrong? If the if tells us at it came to us as a response to something, so we need to understand what we need to change so that He will bring us back together. To appreciate the fact that it doesn't matter what state the Creator sends, we are always in the same boat together. All of us, entire neighborhood, are going through it together, and we're working to come to equivalent of phone with the Creator. We do it together, this entire huge group, and that's something that gives us a lot of joy. It's been the 5th year that the Ukraine groups study how to stay in happiness during a war, with a great attempt to see the whole world clear, to be in a prayer towards the world, that we're already extending a 4-year prayer for the world Kli, and this brings great happiness, and we learned how to be in happiness in all these states. Thank you to the world Kli for this opportunity that was given to us. Thank you, dear friends. We'll make the greatest effort we can to meet, if conditions allow, in this way to feel the real joy. It regardless of the external conditions, it depends on our readiness. Hello, dear great friends. To feel happiness, is to give gratitude to the greatness of the Creator in our path to be the Creator's worker is great happiness, and to also add the fact that we're students of Laitman, it's huge joy. We just have to acknowledge it and to walk the path of happiness, especially when there's such great friends. Look around. What could be better in our life? Yeah, we should remember the good things that the Creator sends us no matter what, as long as now we can be grateful for them and constantly thank Him, and from this we will come to joy by scrutinizing our intention to adhere to the Creator, to use all the physical and virtual means that we have to connect. Thank you for the opportunity. Play together with the friends. What we received now at this stage, that the love of the Creator, the love of them both, the love of all the stages, everything is mixed together, and to convey that feeling. Thank you. Dear friends, we felt the concern of the friends that are used to be meeting physically. We're a virtual 10. We never met physically, so we want to convince you that also, virtually, we can give happiness to one another when we're wrapped in love, when we fulfill Ra's advice, when we do what Rush wrote, so happiness comes. We want to share with you from experience. Now we're seated around the table. One is in Tbilisi, one is in Barchimi. Bati is now a friend who is in Israel, now another friend in Germany. Yesterday we had a meal together with KF3, with all the disturbances, obstructions that France had. There is internet, there's no internet, there is electricity, no electricity. But what do we want to say from experience? When we are rewarded, despite the obstructions, with doing what we can nevertheless to connect among us, it gives pride and joy. Yeah, and the friend said that we're happy, that we have a chance to bestow happiness about the process itself. And there's an advice. That's our advice, helping each other. If a friend is sad, we want to hear him and incorporate in his deficiency and give joy. And by giving joy to the friend, we're giving joy to the Creator friends. Just from incorporating in the friends in the world, we can get a lot of happiness, and that's what we need to try and keep and watch over. We feel the great desire of the friends, every friend, every 10 to participate, and we have to use it. This field is right in front of us. The Creator is just showing us a field where you could pick the fruit and taste His greatness. Such a special path and a special flavour that every friend in the 10 brings. Yeah, nothing gives more confidence in life than to see that the whole is gathering all the time, day after day, and it's continuing and growing stronger, and it's happening all over the world, and nothing stops the spiritual, endless movement. I'm certain that through the efforts and labour that we're seeing from all the friends now, the Creator is very, very happy. I'm sure we gave Him a lot of joy. Now, let's continue doing it in the time we have left together. So we want to move forward and give an update about the upcoming PES. It will start on April 1st, but we are already preparing. So first of all, will happen virtually all of it, but we are not going to give up any detail in PES, just as we would do it physically, with lessons and meals in the evening, and gatherings of friends, everything. We will do it, but virtually. Schedule was sent to everyone, and we will be sent again to all our channels. So it's very important that everyone begins to get ready for conducting PES at home. Just like we heard now from the Women's TS said, we're getting organised to do PES, to say that it's suitable for everyone. So everyone's invited to have PES, and in general the meals will be broadcast, translated. So PES for us is not a festival of Jews or some custom, or it's a spiritual annual occasion that the world clay is coming to, and the whole world is invited to come and celebrate PES and see how you two are getting organised in your own places to have the meal together with everyone. Will give a blow of connection that will shake up many things in the world. Of course, if the security situation changes and we can gather physically, then there's no question we will allow it, and we'll be able to get back to lessons and meals. But until the situation, as long as the situation continues as it is, we follow the instructions of the Home Command, and we'll conduct ourselves virtually, our Pesach. We will do it virtually this year, and what we want to do is we want to have it a special seder. It will go through the homes, Each part will be led by a different home will go around the world, so it'll cause a lot of excitement and joy. Prepare the wine. We have 4 cups to drink, so that too is very important to have. We're also going into a process of training because we need to making it kosher, so we'll do the best kosher process at home and at the center, according to Baram in general for us. We're following because that's what we received from Mash and what gave Tosh, so we always try as much as possible to stick with the directives of regarding and see how much we can implement it on ourselves at every possible opportunity. So the dates for their trainings for conducting a kosher, best we will advertise them and anyone who wants to can join. Lastly, regarding friends from overseas, we know that every year when PES comes, some friends come because after experiencing PES in once, they cannot avoid coming over and over. But this year, because of the security situation, we're really asking not to come to PES. There is no activity at the center. We will not be able to give you the attention and what every friend who wants to come here deserves. We are committing to have you at every opportunity we can to let you come home without thinking twice. The doors will be open and you'll be able to come. So that's about. May we be able to do it exactly the way would like us to. Tells us in Shamarti 41. What is greatness and smallness and faith? One who seeks the truth is the one who needs the light of faith. If such a person hears or sees some way to obtain the light of faith, he is happier as though he has found a great fortune. Hence those people who seek the truth on the holiday of Passover, which is capable of the light of faith. We read the portion, and they believed in the Lord and his servant Moses, because then is a time that can impart that. So friends, we saw people that are asking for faith. They have gathered in Berlin. Let's see how beautiful they are. Our dear friends that gathered in Berlin now from all over Europe. It's just the beginning. There'll be many more that'll come later. Today, veterans. They are dear friends from Germany and German speakers and friends from Europe, from other places, and many new students will also join them. So we'll just share that this specific state, Mushy and me were supposed to be in the Czech Republic and Germany this weekend. Obviously, because of the state, we can't do it, but the French decided to continue and to go with all forces and take it seriously. It's a historical gathering that the German-speaking CLE and the whole European KLE are gathering together to connect and participate in lessons and do workshops and many more events like we know in every congress. So we'll hold everybody in the heart and strengthen them from the center of the world, friends. It really is a lot of joy. We need a joy. So when you see friends getting together and not giving up, they're going to be there for 3 days, so that gives you confidence. And in general now in many places, there is war now, but Pesach symbolizes an inner war with our ego. In a war, what gives you confidence is presence of the friends. First of all, to be present in the battlefield, and that's our battlefield to lessen our meetings. Now we reached a record. I just looked. Now we have 2,600 people with us. So I think we are implementing God's words, and that gives a lot of joy. So, a few more updates about the May Congress, going deeper in the tense as a result of the discussions we had last week and all kinds of conclusions that we've gathered from all the checking we did during the week. Let's start. First of all, thank you to all the friends who responded and wrote. Both last week when we presented it, and also during the week, many reactions to the Congress. It's a Congress that we're doing for the first time in this. We a Congress of tents, and in light of the reactions we checked with the heads of languages and with women, especially in Israel, and after everything we collected. We even held a census survey, and the women held a survey and hundreds of women answered it, and here are the results of everything we collected from the reactions of the friends. So number 1 Congress take place as planned between the 29th and 31st of May as one common Congress for the whole world CLE. What is the purpose to deepen the connection in the 10. So we asked each 10 to create a concentrated time of 12 hours, 12 to 24 hours, if possible more, and if it's not at the expense of other things, they can have it for all 3 days. But we recommend at least 12 to 24 hours of connection of studying and working together. When we examine the division into groups, according to how it is possible to concentrate that, so we recommend to men from the Israeli Kli to get together between Friday and Saturday. Those who can do more for the world. Kli, the emphasis is on Saturday and Sunday. Tens that are able can do more than that. And regarding women from the Israeli Kli, the emphasis on the activity is on Sunday. On that Sunday, preference will be given to women from the Israeli, and the men are requested to allow them to participate fully. What does that mean? Since we have in the evening, if the wife is with her 10, we prefer for the men to be connected virtually and will take care of the kids and help the wife complete her 12 hours with her 10. However, in light of the survey, if women cannot meet on Sunday, then they can hold a meeting sometime near the Congress, for example, Saturday, a weekend before that, or during the week. In any case, each 10 men or women, anywhere in the world, should get together for at least 12 hours. Another change that we inserted following the reactions is that we will maintain our regular times, meaning the morning anka will be from 2:40 to 5:20 Israel time, the morning lesson that we used to, and the noon anka will be from 4 to 6. It'll be made of 2 parts that we will elaborate on later. On Sunday, we have an addition from 6:30 to 7:30, world concluding, while giving preference to the women in the Israeli claim. Again, this topic is very delicate and sensitive, so we checked and dissected the ancestors of women too. Those who have women, those who children, those who don't have children. I were trying to incorporate together everything is, and we've incorporated everything as a result of your answers, and we want to have a workshop question on this topic because this Congress is approaching. But before that, if one of the friends wants to add something, please. Friends in the management, everything's clear. We're also going to talk about it in the noon lesson and also let questions be asked. So if anyone wants to add, great. If not, let's go to a short workshop question. I will add one thing because I was asked. So maybe that question exists elsewhere, mentions the anchors. The anchors will be content that we're all doing together, but the rest of the time, each 10 is invited to build its own content for itself. That's a question that came up. Should the 10 build this kind of content, that kind of content? The answer is no. The 10 builds its own content in the way it sees right and the way it thinks fit. Of course, well, all the friends in the 10 should agree. It's not like one should dictate, but what content that 10 needs to go through when not in the common anchor. It's the 10's choice. Could be culture, could be a talk, could be a walk, could be bonfire, whatever each one wants. Each 10, according to its character and will. That's an important point. Part of their whole point is for the 10 to get together and make these decisions and build the common content, and it gives a place for each friend to be expressed. Another question: can we use our centers for the gathering of the 10? So the question is yes, you can use the centers if it's a place that you can gather. But again, it's a 10's gathering, not a group or an area or a place. For example, if the 10 can only gather in the center, even 2 or 3, great. They are coming together with their 10. That's the emphasis. The gathering of the 10. Another thing that I see that is confusing. It sounds like we have to meet for 12 hours or 24 hours, and that's it. If now, after 10, and it doesn't cause a problem to the family, and even for 3 days, go for it. We're offering a minimum package, but if you can go all out and go out for 3 days, yeah. So, we won't have time for a workshop question. Maybe we'll go to the clip, yeah. But before the clip, we have a few more updates that we want to give. Today at noon there will be a lesson that will concentrate as we heard from the friends, and then there will be a workshop about the Congress. So what we didn't do now we'll do in the afternoon. So a few more important updates regarding this week. This week at one of the days we had a malfunction, a problem with a technical problem with India's system, and the whole system shut down for everyone, and we couldn't reconnect. Happened as a result of a problem with the servers where the Arut system is installed. So we wanted to give an update, and the friends couldn't know how to continue being in the lesson. So we want to remind and update about all the platforms that are available for you for broadcast if there is such a case. So if you're not connected to the air root system or on the computer or through your phone, you can connect with a virtual home, which is the address is CLI1. You have broadcast there. You can watch the lessons with translations in all the languages on your phone. You have the Kabbalah TV app, and you also have the Kabbalah Media app. On both you can always get a live broadcast of the lessons, both audio and video. They will also send it, of course, through messages, so everything is accessible to you. Another thing we wanted to update is regarding how we communicate here in Israel with the friends involved. Until now we communicated with everyone via WhatsApp. We would send everyone messages directly through messages. Regrettably, we can no longer continue using WhatsApp due to changes that the company made, which limits us from continuing to send messages there. Therefore, we started sending messages via Telegram. So everyone in Israel, both in Israeli, we sent announcements with a link to join the Telegram group according to the circle you belong to. If you're Menaka, you have the link to Menver. If you belong to Women of the Israeli, then you have a link to the Women of the Israeli, and there you will get all the updates. In addition, we know that not everyone feels comfortable working with Telegram, so we are examining developing our own app where we will be able to update the friends on anything we want without being dependent on this or that service that exists today in the market. And lastly, something I forgot before going over schedule. So let's go over it. If you can put on the first slide, please. Okay, great. So, as we said before, PBS begins on April 1st. That's a little more than a week until the beginning of. So on April 1st, we'll have the morning lesson as usual. Then there's the burning of the at 11 at 11. Of course, it's not broadcast, and there will be a gathering. If it is possible, we will get together. We'll update you through the channel's morning new lesson from 12 to 1, and the Passover meal from 2:30 to 4. The Seder will be broadcast to everyone. The whole world is invited. Next slide. The following day, we'll begin the lesson later at 5:45, and the lesson will be from 6:00 to 8. It'll be a morning lesson. After the morning lesson, we will have a virtual meal, and the new lesson will be from 4:45 to 5:30, and then we will have a virtual meal from 5:30 to 6:15. In addition, Friday, Saturday, the schedule is as we know the regular schedule on Saturday. So as usual, Sunday and Monday, the schedule is as usual. The only change in the schedule is that from 6:00 to 7 we have a meal, both on Sunday and on Monday. On Tuesday, it's the eve of the second holiday of Pes. So from 2:30 to 3:30 we'll have a festive meal, and on Wednesday we'll also start later because it's like a Saturday here. It's a holiday and the schedule is as usual. So Wednesday will be the last day of PGS, and of course if there are changes we will update you on everything. Let's conclude with a clip from Love. Clip number 2 of Let's Hear the directions from him how to get into this. We live inside a world that has many forces. The most exalted concealed forces are called lights in the wisdom of Kabbalah, and these lights bestow upon people on everyone, but mainly these lights are divided according to their actions, and the greatest ones and most special for us are the lights of Passover. Passover is from the word to pass over, Passover. When you come out of the feeling of this small egoistic world, the corporeal world, into a feeling of the more upper world, eternal, whole, special, the spiritual world. And this passage happens through a special force called light, like the light of the Creator, Lightsab. That's how they're called in the wisdom of Kabbalah. By the influence of these lights, we change, and we feel our reality in a new way, broader, more purposeful, and to draw those lights we can buy, wanting then to clothe upon us that we will be as vessels that these lights can clothe on and enter and fill us, and in such a way we will acquire their nature. The natures coming out of exile from our ego to freedom, to the feeling of the upper spiritual world, towards the force of love and bestowing connection. For that we want to invest all our forces in that week that will be, together all our friends around the earth. And in this way we will try to implement it.